WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. This time I don't think it's that rare and that exotic. Old Forester 1910, Old Fine Whiskey. This originally hit the market 2018, so I've actually done all the whiskeys now of the Old Row series, at least on my German channel. I think I started off with the 1870, went to the 1897, went to the 1920, and now we have the last one, the 1910. So what's so special about the 1910, you ask? Well, basically it is a double oaked whiskey. That's it. So this is Old Forester double oaked, Whiskybase 122926, 46.5% for you all over in the States, 93 proof. All right, so nothing very special there. Now, unfortunately, nowhere in the label do they tell the story of why 1910. Now, that's a little bit of a shame. So you go online to oldforester.com, or you do what I did, is you actually visit the distillery, which I had the privilege of doing in June of 2022, and did the tour at Old Forester. Excellent tour, by the way. Loved it. Really, really loved it. Rabbit Hole in Louisville was maybe the best. Then I would probably say Old Forester. The next one's going to be Angel's Envy. The tour at Nulu was a museum type of walk around. It was okay, informative, nice, but nothing compared to the other tours. I have not done the Michter's tour yet from Nelson, Fort Nelson, and so on. In Louisville itself, so we'll see what happens in the future, what other distilleries I can visit there. Now, going back to the website, it says here on October the 22nd of 1910, a fire on the bottling line halted production of the Old Forester. Mature whiskey ready to be bottled, which means in this case it had already been taken out of the casks. Mature whiskey was ready to be bottled, intended for, instead was stored in a new secondary barrel. And what emerged was a delightful whiskey, remarkable enough to become an entirely new expression, Old Fine Whiskey. And it says here, today mimicking this historic bottle, this unique expression of Old Forester has undergone a second barreling, granting it exceptional character, a smooth and sweet flavor, and a clean, crisp finish. Entering the second barrel at a low 100 proof, interesting, allows more of the sweet wood sugars to dissolve into the whiskey, and 1910 Old Fine Whiskey is the fourth and the final expression now of the Whiskey Row series. Now, that's very, very unique here about the Whiskey Row series. None of the 4 bottles made it over to Germany. None of the 4 bottles made it over to any place in the European Union, as far as I'm aware. All the bottles I've ever seen, I had to buy in like a secondary market from the Netherlands. This bottle I bought actually from the United States and had it sent over. So for this bottle, state price, $50, $60, depending where you're at. I'm paying 99 euros after shipping, which is terribly expensive, about $20 per bottle, and also 19% VAT, basically, all right, import tax. So any product sold in Germany has to pay 19%. In the Netherlands, I think it's 23. Up in Sweden, it's even a little bit more, and so on. We're actually now at the lower end of the scale for the VAT in Europe. So each and every product enters the market here has to add on that tax. So add on the $20 for the shipping cost per bottle, and that's sending 6 bottles over at once, and that's also the 19% VAT. You get a price of around $100. Ouch. All right, so while I was in the States, what did I do? I had the possibility to buy another bottle, and I said the first bottle I'm going to buy is Old Forester 1920. I really like Old Forester 1920. I love the 113 proof, 57.5%. I love the taste profile. This is whiskey the way it should be. And it says here, Prohibition style. All right, very, very, very good. Good stuff, great stuff. All right, so what I'm going to do is just pour a tiny bit in my glass. I have a little bit left. What I do is I now am trying to become Mr. American Whiskey over here in Germany. So my goal is, and my goal was, is to help Germany understand that America produces great bourbons and ryes. So I'm importing whiskey together with my partners from the UK and 10 bourbons. And I have this year I'll be at maybe at least 10, maybe 12 different whiskey festivals, whiskey fairs is what we call them over here. And I have a booth, and all I have is American whiskey. So I have 100 different bottles plus some of the products we import, and this is now my bottle that I brought just for the whiskey fairs. So it's amazing. People just look all along my bottles. They go, oh, look, Stag Junior, yay. Oh, look, they look Cowboy Bourbon from Garrison, ooh. And then they actually see this a lot of times, the 1920. And everything I've poured so far have been at just 2 whiskey fairs. One whiskey fair. That was one whiskey fair. And so, yeah, some of the bourbon drinkers out there know goodness when they see it. Now, is this good? We did at the Old Forester a tasting at the very end of our tour with the Statesman. Lost for me. I don't like the 45%. I don't think Statesman's a great whiskey. They decided to add it to the core range. So it used to be for 2018 for that film, and now it's actually a core range product at Old Forester. We had the 1910, we had the 1920, and we had something else. Was it the 1897? Well, I forgot which one it was. But this was actually my second least favorite of them all. This was my favorite of them all. So it was very, very interesting as well. We were 18 people, and about every time 4 or so people raised their hand for each whiskey. Some people liked the statements. Some people liked the 1920. Me. Some people loved the 1910 because they said it was very accessible and it was very sweet and it was very chocolatey. Now I could have, should have, maybe would have actually compared this to the Woodford, to the Woodford Reserve Double Oak, but I had the 1920 and it just looks good. The 2 bottles here on my table. All right, good. Now on the nose, it's nice. I have a little bit of a candied cherry moment. I have here brown sugar. I have here a whole lot of vanilla and a little bit of caramel. Oak, of course, and vanilla. Now, what I don't get, and many people do get by with Old Forester, is this, like those banana. Don't get that. That's just me, though. Now, this has a little bit more depth. There's not really the alcohol. The alcohol is not strong. It's cooling. We have the brown sugar. I have the tobacco leaves. I have a little bit pecan nut. I have a tiny little bit here of that vanilla, and I have leather. I think this is just a quintessential bourbon that is absolutely very, very well done. This is a B, on a good day, a B+ bourbon in my books. This is I haven't tasted, giving you my score already. This is actually a C+ to B- whiskey. It's a little bit woody. There's a little bit too much of tannins in there for me. Now, what I would really like to know, and I could not find that information anywhere, maybe someone else can write it down, how long was the second maturation? Was it 2 months, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years? I don't know. So, that'd be interesting to know. It is a somewhat accessible whiskey. Now, if I were to have the choice between, for example, the Sagamore Double Oak, or the Woodford Reserve Double Oak, or the 1910 from Old Forester, this would be third place. Is it a bad whiskey? No. But there are just better double oaked whiskeys out there, in my opinion. And that is my question of the day. What is your favorite double oaked whiskey? I do not mean double oaked bourbon. So I do not mean a Finnish whiskey. I'm not talking about Pedro Jimenez or rum or Madeira or any other type of sherry or a port. I'm talking about putting it in a new charred oak barrel. So double oaked. Jim Beam double oaked. Cheap. Okay. Not the same league. That would be even less than this. That would be a C to C plus. That's a C whiskey. It's not even. It's a C- on a bad day and a C on a good day. This is definitely almost a C. This is a C plus. All right. Cheers. You really do get that oak there. Now, if I had the Woodford Reserve Double Oak, I'd get more of a chocolatey moment. Here, I get more of a sweetness. It's almost like the Russell Stover cherry, chocolate-covered cherries. A little bit of that's going on here. A little bit of apple. I get like a caramel apple. And it's got a little bit of that oak tannin sawdust moment going on there. Good whiskey. Great whiskey? Definitely not. Bad whiskey? Definitely not. Good whiskey. $50. I think you can get something much better for $50 than this, but that's just my personal opinion. For example, add $15 and you get this. I was in Virginia and I paid $65 for this. If I had the choice between the two, I would go for the 1920 every single time. This just puts a little bit like a smile on my face. As I said, this is the quintessential, this is just that, almost that perfect bourbon moment. Not too much, not too little. The flavor profile exactly dialed in. Wow, well done. So, question of the day, which double oaked bourbon do you prefer and why? All right, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. And just in case anyone from Brown-Forman or Old Forester is watching this, please send us bourbon over here to Germany or Europe for all that matter. We need 700 milliliter bottles. Just put the 1910, the 1920, the 1897 as well as the 1870 in a 700 milliliter bottle and send it over. Please, that'd be great. Thank you very much. All the best. Bye-bye.